Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla, let's go over the market, let's go over what has happened today, what we can infer from it, what we can expect moving forward, and all of that good stuff as per usual. So if you guys enjoy the video, don't forget to hit that like button. It does help a lot. Again, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Make your own decisions, do your own research. And of course, I do have my membership section now live as usual. If you want to join for $2.99 a month, you get access to my thoughts real time throughout the market hours as Tesla moves, as things happen. And I pretty much update you guys several times, usually per day. So if you want that, the link is down below, of course, in the description, or you can press the join button. But moving into a Tesla going down 1.63% for the day, which compared to the market being down 1.3%, Tesla in line, maybe ever so slightly outperforming the market, but pretty much in line with the market. Now, question is, what does this mean? So you only see down 1.6% and you're like, I guess not that bad, right? It's not too shabby. I mean, you know, we did say how, I don't know if I said it in the video yesterday, but for my members, I was saying how I expected Tuesday, which is today, to be a red day. And it was quite a, you know, it was a bit of a wild day. You know, it started off red, then it went, you know, decently green, all the way up to like almost 194. So our price target that we talked about yesterday, how Tesla can still definitely reach, is about 195 to 200. I actually still think it can reach that. We'll discuss that further in the video. However, moving just strictly into what happened today, right? You know, it's a pretty bearish candle, guys. I'm not gonna lie. This is definitely not a it's definitely not a bullish candle right here on the daily close. So I talked about how overall Tesla looks bullish until obviously it doesn't. And what I usually look for personally, when I look for reversals or things like that, is it a bearish daily or weekly candle? Usually daily, but weekly is great too, even better, but usually daily is enough. Is it a bearish looking daily candle? And is it at a, in theory, a pretty decent resistance area? To me, this one absolutely is within a decent resistance area. This candle right here is essentially pretty much the opposite of what this candle is right here that started off this rally, right? We had this massive fall, had a beautiful, recoup, if you will, throughout. Actually, I remember this happened all on Friday, but nonetheless, it happened. The weekly candle closed in such a fashion, and we had a beautiful rally forward. Unfortunately, this is literally the opposite now, right? This is a bullish candle. This one, as I'm sure you can take a wild guess, is a bearish version of that candle. So what does this mean moving forward is the question I'm sure everyone's asking, right? So to make it the most simple way of putting it, we'll go into more detail, but if you want the kind of, just the gist of it, right? What I personally think will happen is I think Tesla will start a downtrend here. Now we need to see confirmation tomorrow, but this is a pretty respectable sign to confirm a reversal, right? There's a decent chance, like an 80% chance off of this candle alone, that a reversal is pretty much imminent, right? Probably even tomorrow. But you want to see follow through tomorrow to really truly confirm it. But nonetheless, right? What I personally think will happen, just again, a rough example, right? I also want to make it clear, a lot of times in my videos, I do predictions and reactions, right? So I'll give you guys a prediction as to what I think will happen. What I think will happen throughout, the next maybe week, 2 weeks, maybe sometimes even a month, right? But that's a prediction. Again, I want to make it very clear. It is a prediction. Predictions are exactly that, right? Just predictions. The more important thing is being reactionary, which is why on top of the predictions, I also give you important levels to pay attention to, which if they break, things may change, right? So that's important to understand. This is what happened with the bear flag. Things, we saw a certain path that was coming like this. Clearly it broke and, went back into the bear channel. We talked about that as well. I'm sure you guys remember. And there you have it. Things, plans change because of that, right? You have to be able to react like that. But nonetheless, what I personally think will happen is I do think we start the downtrend here, right? But I don't think it's going to be like a substantial downtrend. What I personally think is we'll downtrend somewhere around here, right? At the very least 180, but probably somewhere closer, in my opinion, to about 175, right? That's my main area right now. Excuse me. And I do think we will come down there and around this area. And I do think that from there, we actually will go up even higher. And I think from here is where we might potentially come up, either once again, maybe do a double top. So somewhere around this 193 area again, or potentially go a little bit higher, maybe closer to around 200. Now, the question you might be asking is, why 200? Well, on top of it just being on very obvious psychological support of being 200, you also have the 200-day moving average, which is right above 200. It's pretty much almost at 202 right now. Now, this thing, especially in the daily, as you can see, I'm sure, it's a pretty slow moving, indicator, right? It's not going to just completely collapse to us like something like the 50-day moving average or even the 100-day moving average, right? The 200-day moving average is a much more slower but more weighted, I guess, if that makes sense, moving average, right? So with that being said, if we do move like this, I do believe the 200-day moving average will essentially move something like this. It'll kind of, it'll kind of do like something like this, right? And then we'll probably meet it somewhere back up around this level, most likely get rejected. And then I think we actually get a bit of a further downtrend from there. So maybe from here, then we go down even further. This will be like a bigger downtrend, probably come down to somewhere around this area. And then I think from here, we bottom out and I think we continue moving all the way back up. So in other words, the way I look at it is any true downtrend that we experience from here on out, I personally view as a buying opportunity for Tesla. Just my opinion, of course. I don't think, doesn't mean I'm right. I could be completely wrong, obviously, right? You never know for sure, right? You have to be able to be flexible in these kind of markets, but that's the gist of roughly what I see coming along within the next, honestly, couple months or so, right? Give or take something like that. Now, with that being said though, let's go over to 2 hour very quickly. The question, of course, here is, well, okay, where does this drawdown go? So we talked about how it's probably gonna come down to 174, but is there anything else that's telling us, right? Is there something more concrete from technical analysis? So the first and foremost, right, actually go back to the daily. The first and the reason I brought up 175 is because this was the little area that we were stuck in. Actually, let's go 3 hour, right? This is this little area right here that we were kind of stuck in sideways. And then we finally broke out right here and then this rally began, right? So as usual, you usually retest those kind of breakouts. So wouldn't be surprised if we come up like this, which we just did, come back to retest, and then we go up even higher one more time before that drawdown I just talked about. Another way to talk about or to look at these is, of course, using the Fibonacci, right? So for instance, let me just remove this as well for now. Another thing you can look at is the Fibonacci. So you go from here, Fibonacci retracement. You can either go, for instance, from here to here. You can make an argument that, maybe that's, the swing low to the swing high here. And then cool. Now this obviously is showing us that the 0.382 to the 0.5, which to me right now is the golden zone. Anywhere between the 0.382 to the 0.5 is the golden zone, which just happens to coincide pretty much exactly in this area we just talked about, which again is between 177 to 172. Somewhere in that general area to me is a sweet spot. Personally, I believe we'll go there, and I do believe it will be a pretty nice buying opportunity. And then I think we'll go up even higher, probably to closer to 200-ish, give or take, right? That's kind of what I'm thinking right now moving along in the future. And that's kind of the way I am going to be perceiving it. Now, again, the market will always find a way, right? This is another way to look at it if you want, right? I personally don't think this, I think this is the way to look at it. I think this is the more accurate one. But anyway, that's kind of the way I'm personally perceiving it as of right now. So that's the main thing I'll be looking at, ladies and gentlemen. Now, another thing to look at, of course, we have the 21 EMA, right? Which is sitting at pretty much 174. So as we fall back down to it, which might happen pretty fast, I got to sneeze. Excuse me. This thing will catch up to us a little bit fast if we don't fall down. So it is a possibility that, maybe even tomorrow we do get this fall, and it's a pretty aggressive fall. And the reason why I think it could potentially be a pretty aggressive fall is because we had a pretty aggressive run up. Usually when you have aggressive run ups like this, not only does it not last as long, but the fall tends to be just as fast as well. So just keep that in mind. Similar to what we had here. We had a massive run up, lasted a little bit, and then we had a pretty substantial fall. Now, obviously not a crazy amount, but a decent fall for sure. So just keep that in mind, guys, right? Same thing over here. When you had a massive rally and then you had a pretty massive fall, right? Same concept here. Obviously, this is to a much smaller scale than the examples I just said, but the idea is similar, right? Which is why I only think it'll fall down to about the mid 170s or so for now. Now, that's the way I'm looking at it as of today, guys. So yeah, that's the main thing. Honestly, not much more to add after that. The 21 EMA is very important to keep an eye on. We have the 100-day moving average pretty much sitting at pretty much the same spot as well. We have the 50-day moving average at 178. So again, the mid 70s to me is going to be the sweet spot. I do think that we potentially bounce from there. And then we go up even higher, probably actually touch 200 this time potentially. And then I think it'll be a massive, massive bull trap. We'll come down, probably do a double bottom, potentially still come down all the way to this gap fill, this little infamous gap fill, which again, so when we were talking about this gap fill up here, right? Back when we were up here, I still remember this. I'm not going to forget. Dude, yesterday, I don't know what's happening yesterday. The people in the comments yesterday were wild. I don't know what is up with that. People are just... Tesla permabulls are truly a different species, man. It's pretty wild to watch. But anyways, I remember back when we were up here, all the permabulls on Tesla were just freaking out. They're like, oh my goodness, 212, like, 240's next, 300's next, right? And I was like, I was constantly telling people, I'm like, be cautious, be cautious. Obviously a little bit too early, I'll admit, but nonetheless, and then we had a massive fall. And I talked about this gap fill, being a massive area to potentially go to, but I said, anywhere between 160 to 145, you can rewind and watch those videos. They're still there. I talked about that, right? And we came down to about 152, which if I do say so myself, is pretty fucking close. So I saw some people talking about, oh, but I thought you said it's supposed to gap in the 145 before 200. It's like, bro, fuck, it went from this like 215 to 152. People that listen to that probably save themselves a lot of money. I'm just saying. So if I see any smart comments like that, a little, you better back it up with some, videos of yourself, showing some, absolutely just pinpoint accurate technical analysis, or else you're just absolutely full of shit. And I most likely will just remove your comment because it's just, no one wants to watch that. No one wants to listen to that. You know what I mean? But anyways, with that being said and done, that's kind of what I'm seeing. On top of that, you also want to definitely be paying attention to the VIX. Now, the VIX has potentially broken out of a pretty big area here. You can see a lot of rejection in this area over here, over and over. But this time it did close a candle above it. So this could be a little bit more room for the market to go down even further. So that could be overall pretty bad news as well. The QQQ has officially broken back into this channel potentially, which is pretty bearish. The SPY, if it does break this blue line, bearish. So there's a lot of things setting up that could be pretty bad, right? Which could definitely bring Tesla down to at least 175-ish, give or take. So that's the main thing I'll be looking at and being paying attention to. And that's the main thing I'll be pretty much eyeballing. For now, a buying opportunity. If something worse happens and if certain levels break that shouldn't break, for instance, like, you know, one level that you want to pay attention to on Tesla here will be something like this, right? I'll just put it up like that. If this level breaks, that'll be pretty bad. This little blue line I just put. If this breaks, that could be pretty bad and things could get a lot more uglier than I at least think as of right now. If it doesn't, then I think we just simply come down to this blue line roughly, bounce off of it, go up to 200, and then probably collapse back under and probably go back to this double bottom at least, right? But again, that right there is just a prediction. But for now, I'm pretty confident that, you know, the downtrend most likely is here for now, and it's nothing but a buying opportunity for now. But that's just my opinion, guys. Let me know what you think down below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button. And of course, as usual, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.